The following about the author passage is an excerpt included in most books published by Harrison of the North of Branthwaite. This text is subject to copyright protection as part of those works, including but not limited to the secret cipher of Chalice, the secret cipher of Edward the Confessor, the secret cipher of Why There Are Ravens in the Tower of London, the Ascent of Arthurian Britain, the Salmon Baptiste, and the author's Ravenlaw series of books. Included in many of Harrison of the North of Branthwaite's books are original poems and songs that have also been released as standalone works. For example, the song The Salmon Baptiste accompanies his book The Salmon Baptiste. These pieces are distributed through DistroKid to a wide range of platforms, including but not limited to Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok and other ByteDance stores, YouTube Music, Amazon, Pandora, Deezer, Tidal, iHeartRadio, Claro Musica, Savn, Boomplay, Angami, NetEase, Tencent, Qobuz, Jukes, Kuak Media, Adapter, Flow, and MediaNet. These creative works extend the thematic and artistic reach of his books, offering audiences a multimedia experience that enhances their connection to the narratives. About the author: Anthony Harrison, Harrison of the North of Branthwaite. Photo with the caption, May Day celebrations at Penrith, no amount of rain will wash Anthony away. Family background. The author, by coat of arms, Harrison of the North of Branthwaite, belongs to a distinctive Indigenous class in the county of Cumberland, Great Britain, known as statesmen. This group constitutes numerous native inhabitants of Cumberland who are recognized as statesmen, where the patriarchal heads of these families are called a statesman. By large, these statesmen settled in Cumberland post-945 AD when it was part of Scotland, who underwent a process of naturalization over 3 generations, evolving into Britons. Their patriarch eventually attained the status of clan chief. However, following Cumberland's return to England under the Treaty of York in 1237 AD and the subsequent decline of Norman French as the primary language of governance in England, they came to be known as statesmen in English. This naming evolution traces back to the original Old Welsh that was spoken in Cumberland, where the term pencenedl denoted a leader or chief, translating to head of the kindred or chief of the people, clan. During Scottish rule over Cumberland, this term translated into the king's tongue as Orchinad or Cynad na Clan in Scots Gaelic, signifying leader of the clan. This naming transition then continued through Norman French, which the New English kings adopted after the Norman conquest, signifying chief of the clan or chief of the family, culminating in the adoption of the English term statesman by around the 14th century. In Cumberland, the rank of statesman equates to that of a clan chief in Scotland, and these terms are now interchangeable in English. This equivalence aligns with the concept that a clan chief originally presided over their own client state in Scotland between 945 and 1237 AD. During this period, the King of Scots recognised no difference between the chiefs of Cumberland and the chiefs of Strathclyde. His acknowledgement of them as leaders of their respective client states reflected his system of power brokering that accommodated the wave of an influx of numerous new leaders and their retinues from distant lands into Cumberland and Strathclyde, becoming an intrinsic part of the Celtic system during that era. The origin story of the Harrisons of the North is quite interesting, who arrived in Cumberland in 1056 AD, hailing from the region around Tongeren, the oldest city in modern-day Belgium, who rose from the remnants of the Celtic Tungri tribe, springing forth from their ancestor, the Duke of Habsburg, who, although formerly a Celtic bishop, became an ecclesiastic prince when acquiring the responsibilities of a departing Roman commander as a hereditary role when the Western Roman Empire was collapsing. Because of this heritage, these Harrisons, whose branch of the Habsburgs meant golden strength, acquired the territorial epithets of the Norths when royal heralds needed it to distinguish them from other Harrison-sounding names who were merely sons of Harry. As such, the name Harrison of the North is connected to their coat of arms. The author, Anthony, the present head of this ancient family, has followed in his father's footsteps as an Indigenous land rights activist, who, just like his father, who served in 22 SAS, the Blues and Royals of the Household Cavalry, and MI5, also has Special Forces experience. He has served as a commissioned officer in the Regular Army, served proudly with the Honourable Artillery Company in London, and developed quite a reputation for supporting Indigenous land rights when running the Cumbric Revival Community Forum in the Noughties, whom BBC Radio Cumbria occasionally interviewed. Anthony appeared on First Dates in 2017, and, in his own words, he still needs an heir and a spare. If Anthony is to be compared with someone, it should probably be Eddie Mabo, an Australian Aborigine with little education and a rural upbringing, who started an Indigenous land rights movement that resulted in over 593 million acres being returned to the Australian Aborigines. Anthony is cut from the same cloth, who, as a First Nation Aboriginal of Cumberland, is seeking similar restitution for every native of Cumberland who has been in Cumberland for more than 3 generations, but in their own uniquely Indigenous context. He is fearless, stands the ground of his fellow Moro without question, and is one of few specialists with such vibrant perspective and depth of knowledge about Cumberland's Indigenous affairs. It was Anthony who discovered that the secret symbol of the Red Dragon at Glastonbury identifies the exact location of King Arthur's Round Table. Read about this, including 12,000 years of British history, in the author's children's book The Secret Cypher of Chalice. It's also a book for adults.
The right of Harrison of the North of Branthwaite to be identified as the author of this work has been asserted by him in accordance with the Copyright, Design and Patent Act 1988. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, stored, or transmitted in any form, or by any means, electronic, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without the express written permission of the author. Published by the Habsbrook Press for Habsbrook Abbey, County of Cumberland, Great Britain. Copyright Harrison of the North of Branthwaite 2024. Please direct inquiries to publisher@habsbrook.com.